Hey Newt, did you see the picture of Pennywise as the crow? Isn't it terrible? Yeah, but so I was gonna put this out earlier today, but I didn't want to drown out the Dune 1984 review that Lana and Dave did. But I'm trying to have a video every day this week, um, and this is just perfect. This popped up today, and it furthers my belief that I will get into about movie studios and movie marketing. All right. So, yes, Pennywise looks like a SoundCloud rapper. Yeah, I mean, a million people have said that. He looks like Die Atwood. He looks like the Lonely Island Boys. He looks like the fucking the Joker, Jared Leto's Joker. Yes, all that. But so this movie's coming out in June. All right. Now we were supposed to get like the fucking Bradley Cooper version of this, and I remember there was concept art of Bradley Cooper, and he had the mullet too. Now, granted, the original James O'Barr comic, he had that 1980s rocker hair, so he had bangs in the original comics. And then we were gonna get Jason Momoa, and there's like that test footage of Jason Momoa like shirtless, like fucking sexying his way up the side of a church, doing like a lot of hand stuff and being like sexy. And we got fucking Skarsgård instead, who I think is great. I think he's a very good actor. I liked all the stuff he's been involved in. Should you not judge a movie until you've seen the actual movie? Yes, 100% I agree. But this picture goes with the concept that I've had for quite a while now, which is movie studios in the pre-production, production, post-production, back into production because they think that they can pick up on a demographic that was missing, or they're going to reshape the entire fucking movie in post and terrible ADR it and all that kind of stuff, like they did with Madam Web. Because one of the biggest things recently has been people who love to quote the South Park Panderstone episode without really understanding that episode. I get a lot of people who will message me like, one dude is like really upset that that Rogue in the new X-Men cartoon coming up doesn't have big ass titties and a thick ass, and I was like, I'm sorry that your thirst trap can't be satiated in this children's cartoon. And not for nothing, man, I grew up on fucking X-Men. I grew up in that perfect era of X-Men. The Chris Claremont stuff and Jim Lee and the animated series and the video games and the fucking Toy Biz toys and all that kind of stuff. Like I was there for it. I fucking love Excalibur and the multiplayer arcade machine. We did back when I used to be on Underbelly. We did a Let's Play, but we did it in costume as the character we were playing as in at the joysticks, and I wrote and shot I stole the opening of Reservoir Dogs, where Mr. Pink doesn't want to be Mr. Pink, but it was about who had to be Dazzler, and we did the whole walking to little greenbacks in slow motion, but it was an 8-bit version of it that was done by DJ Cutman, I think was the dude's name. He's one of those Screenwave hanger-on dudes. But yeah, so I fucking loved X-Men. But if you go back and watch that show, the later seasons, man, there's fucking no detail to it. They just cut it down to like simplistic as fucking possible. But people forget that because it doesn't fit their narrative, So I get people who message me all the time like, doesn't this look terrible? And I'll never forgive Disney for doing this. And I'm like, you'll be missed. They're a fucking trillion, billion, gazillion dollar company. I'm sure that they will miss the one fucking dude on Instagram, But yeah, so you got people who's like, I'll never forget them, and look what they did to my boy, and I avoid movies with messages and shit like that. So, well, if you avoid movies with messages, you failed miserably. Because if you're not, fuck it if you're not going to see the movie. That doesn't matter anymore. Going to fucking see the movie doesn't matter anymore. I'm under the impression that we are into the producers era of, and I don't mean producers like producers of the movies. I mean the Mel Brooks producers. You can make more money with a flop vibe. I think that movie studios are putting out these half-assed images and shit to just drive the echo chamber, to drive the algorithm, to get angry white dudes angrying themselves up in a very white way, because that is worth its weight in gold. Do you know how many people like will post something that's coming out that they don't like the looks of, and then some fucking Peckerwood's gonna be like, oh, I'll never see this, and oh, they're pushing their agenda, and then all these people below it are like, holy shit, I didn't know this was coming out. I'll wait till streaming. Well, there you go. You've just put out the signal for Kathleen Kennedy or whoever. So as much as you think you're raging against the dying of the light, my dude, you're actually just feeding into the fucking the algorithm. So there's one dude, especially, he messages me on Twitter all the time, and we get into these conversations about stuff, and I was explaining to him. He's like, I don't understand why everybody's a woman and make it gay. And he keeps quoting South Park and stuff like that, which the episode's fucking hilarious and spot on. But I go, and granted, I'm not Hollywood dude, all right? I'm a fucking guy who grew up loving this fucking bullshit, and now I'm sitting in a movie theater office, and I'm showing other people's movies, and I'll never get a chance to get in some fucking studio and pitch my own fucking ideas. So I'm just another loudmouth dickhole on the internet, all right? But Disney spends a cajillion dollars, all right, on Star Wars and Indiana Jones and Marvel and stuff like that. And they go, okay, we bought a thing that we know has a lot of value, all right, because dudes like this fucking asshole grew up loving this shit, and they know who everybody on the X-Men is related to, and where people come from, and who the Scarlet Spider is, and all the dumbass Easter eggs that are in stuff, and it used to be like currency. Like when the Marvel movies were at their peak, we would have like college girls come to the theater and be like, who's the guy with the glove? And then you tell them, and then they would take that piece of information and pass it on to the next person. It's like, oh my god, I was like this retainer of on your side quest. I'm like, here, take this, you'll need it, and that was what they were trying to do. Like Marvel, Disney was going like, okay, dudes like this dude know it. We want to bring in women. We want to bring in the queer community. We want to bring in minority community and stuff like that. People who are more, less like me, and people who would, by and large, not go see one of those kind of movies because it's not their bag. It's one thing that studios just have to learn is that, like, while there is a lot of crossover and people who love these type of things, when you cast like fucking hunky dudes like any of the Chris's or whatever, like, yeah, women are gonna go see it, but they, it's tapping into those other demographics that they're trying to get. So they're gonna make more female characters, and they're gonna make more queer characters and more racially mixed characters and all this kind of stuff, because they're trying to bring that demographic in to justify the flat out retarded. Now, when I say retarded, I don't mean mentally challenged. When I say mentally, I have to stop myself when I say these things. When I say mentally challenged, then I mean mentally challenged. When I say retarded, I mean that's fucking retarded. Like when you say gay, you don't mean homosexual. Everybody's very fucking sensitive, and I get it. I'm too short to punch down. When I'm saying about a specific type of people or whatever, I tend to mention that so that there's no second guessing what I'm talking about. But as I'm speaking now, I have to keep putting checkpoints in my head of how I can have a conversation with Metz, who is queer, and be like, oh yeah, we can have that conversation because you get it, but you're not here right now to put me in check, so I need to check myself. Again, relax. I love everybody. Well, not everybody, but I love most people. I like animals more. But so movie costs are out of control. Let's say movie costs are out of control. There's no reason for fucking shit to cost as much as it is. So they need to hit every demographic. So that's why these movies get shaped and reshaped and Frankenstein together. And they're doing this shit more and more now when it comes to production of stuff. Even movies like The Crow. People are getting righteously indignant about The fucking Crow, who I've never heard give a shit about The Crow. One dude who was getting all mad about it, I was like, well, at least now Edward Furlong can say he's not the worst one. And people were like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, well, if you don't know that Edward Furlong was one of the crows, then you're not allowed to get angry about not know, about this crow too. Like, you got to know what you got to cite precedents, man. You know, is that me gatekeeping? But yeah, so you just got people who are so fucking angry about things, not realizing there's a business behind everything. And for you to just go out and say like, well, I'm not going to see this. Okay, you don't have to see it. Nobody's coming to fucking Al Qaeda you. Nobody's putting a black bag over your head and you're fucking waking up in a movie theater with a fucking weird sexually suggestive popcorn bucket. Although that would be weird, right? That'd be kind of cool. Like if I just like fucking kidnapped and put into that situation. And I'm like, you want me to fuck it? And they're like, no, there's popcorn in there, dude. And I was like, well, I already started fucking it, so I gotta finish. And I don't know what AMC's problem is. I brought my own mop. They shouldn't get mad about that. But yeah, so it's like, okay, well, if you really don't want to feed the beast, don't talk about it. You really want to show how fucking, like, how anti-woke you are. Don't feed into it. And you're feeding into it every fucking time. These people, and they're sending me stuff and they're expecting me to agree with them, and a lot of stuff I agree with. Yeah, not everything needs to check every fucking box, and some shit just looks bad, but again, going back to my original thought for this, they knew right away what they were doing when they put that picture out. They knew it was going to get memed back to the fucking Stone Age, because going all the way back to my original thought for this video before I just started rambling like a dickhead. There's so little turnaround time from them reconfiguring this movie however it had to go to now it coming out in June. What do we do to promote? I know, we'll put out this terrible image, which is going to get people talking about it. God damn, if it's not trending all day today, people fucking know this movie exists now. And even if they say in the thing, oh, I'm going to wait till streaming or whatever, it's out there now. People know about it now. There's no such thing as bad press when it comes to anything anymore because the world's a fucking toilet fire. So they know exactly what they're doing, and these people are just feeding into it all the time. One dude, and this made me go like, are you for real? Because I sometimes wonder that people are fucking trolling me when they come out with these really radical ideas about movies and stuff like that. And I get it, Hollywood, left and right, I look at things sometimes and I go, it's like all the Madam Web shit where it's like, people in the movie are just like, well, people aren't seeing it because it's women. I'm like, no, people aren't seeing it because it's bad. It could be fucking Labradoodles. A bad movie is a bad movie, and when you go out there and you tell people now that they're wrong, well, that's going to make them care even less about these movies or these people involved in these movies. It's like, fucking stop it, man. But yeah, this dude messaged me on Twitter, and he's like, so I heard, and I was like, uh-oh. He's like, I heard that Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Kong has pink radiation coloring because he's going to be trans. And I was like, well, do you believe that? And he was like, I wouldn't put anything past Hollywood. And I'm just like, do you really believe that? Like, really? Like, there's, in the parlance of things that, movie rumors and hoaxes I've heard over the years. Like, at one point when, like, Phantom Menace was coming out, like, there was, like, talk that, like, Natalie Portman was going to have, like, a nude scene, and I was like, in a Star Wars movie, and she's like 15, why? And that was like all over like Ain't It Cool News back in the day. But I'm just like, no, man, like, it's not, they're in the middle, they're in like the hollow fucking earth thing. It's got different energy visually, it just looks cool, the pink contrasted with the rest of the world and stuff like that. Not everything has an agenda. Everybody's looking for one at all things. That's why I like so much about Batman versus Superman. And people always tell me I'm crazy. Larry Fishburne has a line, and he's like, talking about like the Daily Planet and the world isn't what it was back in 1933 anymore. And it's about how like every move by a political figure, a social figure, whatever, is a political move because everyone's going to read into it what they want it to be. And that's why I think is so fucking interesting about that movie is just it's our mythical gods through the prism of our own biased way of looking at society. And then you have like Batman being all like Ayn Rand and all that shit. But like, it's so real because this is how people look at everything. There is no more shades of gray. Everything is black or white. And when we can't fucking enjoy anything anymore because everyone's looking for a message in things, and that's why the movie studios and the marketing people, they got you. They fucking got you, and you think that they can't get you, and you don't fall for the agenda and the wokeism and the boss bitch shit, but you do. You fall for it every motherfucking time when you go out there and you fucking bitch about it online, and then it fucking boosts the signal, man, every time. Now, granted, a lot of shit's bullshit, you know. Ring of Powers, like the actors cared more about it being women and gay and black and all that kind of stuff than the actual story itself. And how when everyone is pushing in the same direction, then all of those other things fit perfectly into it, and it moves everything forward, and you're not blinded by the message, as the critical drinker guy says. But you know, again, and you know, I'm the wrong guy to ask about this shit. I'm straight white dude. I'm 42 years old. I no longer am part of a needed demographic. And I agree with a lot of people when they say not everything needs all the representation. Not every box always needs to be checked. If a story is good enough, people will see themselves in the characters. But, you know, underserved communities do need to be seen in things, that they do exist in the future in Middle Earth and stuff like that. But when that's all you have, when that's all they are is just one fucking note things so studios can pat themselves on the back. Again, Disney didn't let fucking gay people into the parks in the 90s, and now they're all like, look at us, look how great we are. Don't look into our past, please don't look into our past. It's like whenever people talk about sea monkeys, I'm like, don't look up the dude who popularized sea monkeys. If you want to keep those ads in the back of old comic books joyful in your mind, whatever you do, don't look that dude up, you know. But if you're just going to use people as, I've said this a million times, if you're going to use people as a fucking prop, that's lame, and that's so stupid and gay and retarded. But I don't know. Yeah, so people got like really, really angry about SoundCloud, Lonely Island Boy, Crow. I didn't know who the Lonely Island Boys were until not too long ago, and these two fucking dudes are like brothers, and they're like tongue kissing each other, and I'm like, I'm out. Where's Suge Knight? Can we like get a GoFundMe to get him out of jail to dangle some of these fucking dudes over a balcony like they did with Rob Van Winkle, and you know, restore balance to the force, because 80s and 90s rap was incredible. And nowadays I'm like, everybody fucking looks like the back of my high school notebook. They're all like, you know, doodled all over. I want dudes to have like that S that we used to draw on our heads, on their heads. But yeah, so people were super mad about The Crow, and I don't blame the movie studio at all, because you want people talking about your fucking movie. It's hard to make anything, all right? It's even fucking more of a Herculean task to make it good. So if you can't make it good, then just make it memeable, make it clickbaitable, and you'll get people talking about your shit again, and even if it's angry, it's better than not talking about it all. And that's the world we live in now. It's all on fire, it's all a fucking mudslide, man, and we're over here trying to make sense of it, and try to find some semblance of joy in things, and they keep giving you things that aren't for you, and they give things to you that aren't for you, but maybe they're for somebody else. Somebody else is going to really click with Marvels or something like that. Which I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it had its moments that were fun, but I also you can see the corporate structure within it, with all this stuff. You know, Echo was the same thing. I really wanted to like that one. You could see all the boxes to click, you know. And I don't want to be the hate watch guy anymore. I don't want to be the, if it's got a lady in it, it's terrible guy, because that's never how I've been fucking my life, you know. I still remember, you know, playing Metroid and finding out that Samus at the end was a chick and being like, what? That was like Bruce Willis being dead the whole time, you know. And there's so many great female characters. You know, I want a Zatanna movie. I don't know. I want a true Batgirl movie. All these characters that I love, you know, and from literature and stuff. Uh, but to just you know, to just get behind the fucking keyboard and just angrily type away about how, you know, everything is terrible now and they're ruining everything and it's bad to be a white dude and all that kind of stuff. I'm just like, you're just doing exactly what they want, and then you're gonna go out here and you're gonna act superior to all of it. It's like, no, you've been duped, my man. You fell right into the fucking trap, hook, line, and sinker, and there you go. But I did too, because I'm talking about it right now, and I bitched online about shit before that I don't like and all that, you know. But I guess it's an endless fucking cycle of a snake eating its own tail, and pop culture is just cancer. It's just a big old cancer, and it's only now like Madam Web and shit like this that you kind of like, and I was talking about it before about movie reviewers and stuff like that, how disingenuous or how like you know, how pompous some of these fucking people are. You just see now the Matrix. You can see the ones and the zeros. You can see how the fucking sausage is made, and I don't care anymore. I'm just getting to a point where it's just like, I'm starting to just not want to be part of any of it. I don't want to have a public opinion about stuff. I don't want people to ask me what I think about things, and I'm just thinking more and more about, like, you know, maybe I don't feel like doing movie reviews anymore. Maybe I'd just rather make my own shit, and you know, and talk to my actual friends and people online whose opinion I don't find, like, no, they're not trying to make Godzilla trans. I'm sorry, it's fine, you know? And maybe next time Rogue will have mommy milkers. I don't know what to tell you right now. They're also mad about Storm's haircut. That they put her in like a pantsuit and they gave her the mohawk. And I was like, yeah, dude, again, had you never read X-Men before? Well, she had long white hair in the other ones. She's had a lot of different hair styles, man. These comic book characters have been around for a really fucking long time, and they changed their looks. But again, you're going to get angry about something without actually backing it up, and it's that knee-jerk reaction that Kathleen Kennedy wants, and she's got you again. I don't know. I just want to come on and bitch about people bitching while also bitching, so it's like bitchception. And I don't have piercing blue eyes like Leonardo DiCaprio. So I don't know. That's it. I'm hoping that the Crow is good. I think the look is a little bit off, but maybe he'll grow into it and give us the makeup and all that kind of stuff. You know, cue the fucking the Cure music and all that. This movie better have an awesome ass soundtrack, because first two movies had fucking some of the best movie soundtracks of anything in the 90s. And two, well, not a great movie. I'd love to see the director's cut of it, David Goyer's original script. Was it Wally Pfister? Pfister directed that one. Little things like using glass instead of water as the reflective surfaces for the ground, and that kind of rust-colored look of a kind of not post-apocalyptic Los Angeles, but sort of. That movie's biggest flaw is the fucking dude they picked to play the Crow was also in that movie with Kim Basinger with like elephants, and he was French. He barely spoke any English, and he had to learn his lines phonetically. And I thought he was kind of the weakest point of that entire movie. And you had the dude from like the Allstate commercials or whatever, who was the bad guy. And Biling, but she was in the first one. The Yellow Power Ranger who died was in that one. Thomas Jane is in that one. Iggy Pop is in that one. Mia Kirshner is in that one. There's a lot of that movie I really, really like, but the first one is just untouched. Not just because of the tragedy, obviously the Brandon Lee tragedy, but Alex Proyas's design of that movie is incredible, and then you see it carried over into one of my favorite science fiction movies ever, which is Dark City. The less we say about his work on Gods of Egypt, the better. But yeah, I think the first Crow movie is so intrinsically tied to anything going forward. Because there was even like the Crow Stairway to Heaven, the TV show, where Bobby Phillips at one point was the Crow, so there was like a Lady Crow. There's been Lady Crows in the in the comics and stuff like that. I guess if you're gonna do something, you got to do something bold and different to try to draw people's memories away from the Brandon Lee version. There was a whole bunch of shit sequels. There was one with like with the Eric Morbius. Not no, that's Morbius. The dude from Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil movie, who gives Mila Jovovich the jacket that throughout the course of the movie, because of continuity errors, becomes a woman's sized jacket. But that dude was the Crow in one of them, and Edward Furlong was the Crow in one of them, and David Boreanaz was a bad guy in one of them, and Kirsten Dunst was in one of them. That one, the one that Kirsten Dunst was in, had like music by like fucking Kid Rock in it, and I remember seeing it had a very short theatrical run and being like, oh no, like this is what you did? Because I always wanted to see Rob Zombie's The Crow 2049 or whatever it was. That had a really fucking cool, weird script. And I would have loved to have seen them do something with that, because Christopher Lee was going to be the bad guy in that one. And it had sort of like a Sweeney Todd in the future kind of vibe to it, where the Crow purposely doesn't kill off the last person because he likes the power, and he just continues living until he forgets, and then the Crow basically calls him back. That one had some awesome concept art and shit like that. I would have loved to have seen something weird and different like that one, but we never got that. Now we have Lonely Island Boy Crow, and we'll see how it is. Again, I like Pennywise. I'm hoping that it's good. I'm hoping that it's R-rated. But don't get duped. If you're gonna complain online, just remember that you're only feeding into the thing you hate. You either live long enough to whether you die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, right? Isn't that what it is? I don't fucking know anymore. All right, guys, it can't rain all the time.